In this presentation, we will discuss this topic called lower bound and upper bound. By the end of this lecture, learners would know what is an upper bound, what is a lower bound, how to find the upper bound and the lower bound in the Hess diagram. So without any further delay, let's get started. Let's say we have a poset S, R such that S is an arbitrary set and R is a partial order defined on set S. Okay. So I'm considering some poset S, R where S is some arbitrary set and R is relation defined on this set and R must be a partial order. Also, let's say T is a subset of set S. Now we will understand the definition of lower bound. An element X belong to S is a lower bound of set T if for all Y belongs to T, X, Y belongs to R. In short, X must be related to every other element of T. X can be any element of S, okay? And if I am saying that X is a lower bound of set T, then X must be related to every element of T, okay? And what about upper bound? An element X belong to S is an upper bound of set T if for all Y belongs to T, Y, X belongs to R. This simply means that every element of T must be related to X. Then we can say X is an upper bound of set T. Now we will understand these two definitions in a better way with the help of an example. Find the lower and upper bounds of the subsets ABC, JH and ACDF in the poset with the hash diagram shown below. So we are available with this hash diagram, which is obviously a representation of some poset, right? We have to find the lower and upper bounds of these subsets with the help of this hash diagram, okay? Let's move on to the solution. First, we will find the lower bound of ABC, okay? This particular subset. You can see in this subset, there are three elements A, B and C. So let's just look three different points A, B, C in this hash diagram, right? These are those points A, B and C. Here we have to find the lower bound of this particular subset, right? Now, lower bound of this subset is nothing but that particular element which is related to every other element of this subset, right? Here you can see A can be the lower bound of this subset because A is related to B, A is related to C and A is related to itself. Therefore, A can be the lower bound, right? But let me tell you, B cannot be the lower bound of this subset because B is not related to A and B is also not related to C. So it is clear that A is the lower bound of this particular subset. Now let me tell you, it can be any element of set S. Here in this case, in set S, we have these elements A, B, C, D, E, G, F, J, H. These are all the elements of set S, right? Some set S, okay? Here you can see that A is the lower bound of A, B, C and there are no other lower bounds. You cannot say that E is the lower bound of A, B, C with the same reasoning. Similarly, D cannot be the lower bound of this particular subset and so on, right? So A is the only lower bound of set A, B, C. Now let's find out the upper bound of set A, B, C, right? We have to find the lower and upper bounds of all these subsets, right? So let's just find out the upper bound of this particular set A, B, C. Now the upper bound of A, B, C is obviously E because every element of this subset is related to E, right? This is according to the definition of upper bound, okay? Simply, every element of this subset is related to element E. Therefore, this element is an upper bound of set A, B, C. A is related to E through transitivity, of course, because A is related to C and C is related to E, right? After this, B is also related to E. Directly, you can say there is a path from B to E going upwards. C is related to E. Therefore, E is the upper bound of set A, B, C. Apart from this, F is also an upper bound. You can see there is a path from B to F, C to F and A to F. Then there is a path from B to J, C to J and A to J. Similarly, there is a path from B to H, C to H and A to H. But let me tell you, G cannot be the upper bound of A, B, C because B is related to G. There is a path from B to G. A is related to G. There is no doubt about this, but there is no path from C to G, which is going upwards. We can only go upwards, right? Although you can see that from C to G, there is some path, but we cannot follow this path because here, obviously, H is not related to G. G is related to H, right? That is why I'm saying we can only go in upwards direction, right? We cannot go in downwards direction. There is no path from C to G. Therefore, C is not related to G. every element of this subset must be related to this element. Then only we can say this element is an upper bound, right? Similarly, D cannot be the upper bound because there is no path from C to D. B can also not be an upper bound because there is no path from C to B. Also, C can also not be an upper bound because there is no path from B to C. Hence, we can say upper bounds of A, B, C are E, F, J and H, right? Now, let's find out the upper bounds and the lower bounds of JH, this particular subset. First, we will find the lower bound of JH. Lower bounds of JH are F, D, E, B, C, A. You can easily find this. Here, consider this subset JH, right? You can see that the first meeting point is F, right? You should always find the meeting points of J and H. Here you can see I am talking about the lower bounds of J and H, right? They are meeting at this point, F. F is definitely a lower bound because F is related to H and F is also related to G. That is why I am saying there must be a point where they meet, right? There is a path from F to H and F to J. That's why F is a lower bound of J and H. Apart from this, E is also a lower bound of J and H. C is also lower bound of J and H. A is also a lower bound of J and H. B is also a lower bound of J and H. And D is also a lower bound of J and H, right? So it is clear that the lower bounds of J and H are F, D, E, B, C, A. Then let's find out what are the upper bounds of J and H. I think there are no upper bounds of J and H because there is no element above J and H, right? Or in other words, we can say J and H are not related to any element. Therefore, upper bound of J, H is 5. There are no upper bounds of J and H, right? Let's find out the lower bounds of this particular subset ACDF. That's our next target, right? Lower bound of ACDF is A. Obviously, because here we are considering the subset ACDF, right? A, C, D and F. If you see the lower bounds, B cannot be the lower bound because A is related to B. B is not related to A. Similarly, C cannot be the lower bound because C is not related to A, right? A is the only lower bound because A is related to itself, A is related to C, A is related to D, A is also related to F, right? So it is clear that A is the only lower bound of ACDF, right? Now let's find out the upper bounds of ACDF. Upper bounds of ACDF are F, J and H. If you see this, these are the upper bounds of ACDF. Consider this, ACDF. You can see that F is the upper bound of ACDF because A is related to F, C is related to F, D is related to F and F is also related to F. Therefore, F is the upper bound of ACDF. Apart from this, J is also an upper bound of ACDF. H is also an upper bound of ACDF. And none of these elements are the upper bounds of ACDF, right? So that's it. This is all for this example. Let's consider example 2. Consider the following Hess diagram. This is the Hess diagram which we are available with. Find all the upper bounds of A, B, C and all the lower bounds of F, G, H. We have to find all the upper bounds of this particular subset and all the lower bounds of this subset F, G, H. Okay. Let's see the solution. First, we have to find the upper bounds of A, B, C. Consider these 3 points A, B, C in this Hess diagram. Here we have to find the upper bounds of this particular subset. You can see that D cannot be the upper bound of this subset because C is not related to D. There is no path from C to D, right? Also, there is no path from C to E. Therefore, E cannot be the upper bound of A, B, C. And there is no path from B to F and A to F. Therefore, F can also not be an upper bound of A, B, C. If you see this diagram carefully, K is an upper bound of A, B, C because there is a path from A to K, B to K and C to K. Always remember that we can only go in upwards direction, okay? Always remember that direction is important, okay? You cannot say that there is a path from C to H. By seeing this diagram, it seems like there is a path from C to H, but we cannot go in downwards direction because you can see that K is not related to H, H is related to K, right? So there is no path from C to H. Fine? We can only go in upwards direction. We can say there is a path from C to F, F to G, G to K, K to L. When I'm saying there is a path from C to G, this means that C is related to G. As simple as that. Okay? So it is clear that K is an upper bound of this particular subset ABC, because there is a path from C to K, there is a path from B to K, and there is a path from A to K, right? This means that A is related to K, B is related to K, and C is related to K. So it is clear that K is an upper bound of ABC. If you see this diagram carefully, then L is also an upper bound of ABC, because there is a path from A to L, there is a path from B to L, and there is a path from C to L, right? Every element of this subset is related to L. Therefore, L is also an upper bound of ABC. M is also an upper bound of ABC, right? There is a path from A to M, B to M, and C to M. Therefore, M is an upper bound of ABC. You can check the rest of the elements. No other element is an upper bound of ABC. Therefore, K, L, and M are the upper bounds of ABC. After this, let's try to find the lower bounds of F, G, and H. Let's consider these points F, G, and H. We have to find the lower bounds of F, G, and H. You can see that there is no common point between F, G, and H, right? Now, if you want to find the lower bounds of F, G, H, we have to see all the elements below F, G, H, right? You can see that F cannot be the lower bound of F, G, H because there is no path from F to H, right? Also, E cannot be the lower bound of F, G, H because there is no path from E to F and E to G, right? E is not related to F, E is not related to G. After this, you can see that out of these three elements A, B, and C, no one is a lower bound of F, G, and H. Therefore, it is clear that no lower bound exists for F, G, and H, right? Because there is no common point between F, G, and H. There is no common path, right? There is no element which is related to all these three elements. Therefore, lower bound does not exist. It is clear that upper bounds of ABC are K, L, and M, and lower bound of F, G, H is phi, right? Now, we will discuss example 3. Find all upper bounds of 2, 9 and all lower bounds of 60, 72 for this particular poset. Okay, we have to find all upper bounds of this particular subset and lower bounds of this subset for this poset. We know how to draw the Hess diagram for this poset. We have already seen this in our previous presentations. This is how the Hess diagram for this particular poset looks like, right? Now, we have to find all upper bounds of 2, 9. Okay. Upper bounds of 2, 9 are as follows. 18 is the upper bound of 2, 9 because 2 divides 18 and 9 divides 18. Obviously, you can see that 18 is the common point between 2 and 9. There is a path from 2 to 18 and 9 to 18. In other words, I can say that 2 is related to 18 and 9 is related to 18, right? Or we can also say that 2 divides 18 and 9 also divides 18, right? If you see this diagram carefully, then 36 is also a common point between 2 and 9, right? 2 divides 36 and 9 also divides 36. Therefore, 36 is the upper bound of 2, 9. Also, 72 is an upper bound of 2 and 9 because 2 divides 72 and 9 also divides 72. And you can check the rest of the elements. None of these are divisible by 2 and 9 at the same time. You can see that 4 is divisible by 2, but 4 is not divisible by 9. 12 is divisible by 2, but 12 is not divisible by 9. 60 is divisible by 2, but 60 is not divisible by 9. 48 is divisible by 2, but 48 is not divisible by 9. It is clear that there must be a path from 2 to a particular element and 9 to that element. Then only we can say that element is an upper bound of 2, 9, right? Now let's find all the lower bounds of 60 and 72. Lower bounds of 60 and 72 are as follows. 12 is the lower bound of 60 and 72 because 12 divides 60 and 12 also divides 72. We are talking about lower bounds, right? 12 divides 60 and 12 divides 72. You can see 12 divides 60 and 12 also divides 72. And you can see that there is a path from 12 to 72 and 12 to 60. Therefore, 12 is the lower bound of 60 and 72, right? Also, 6 is the lower bound of 60 and 72 because 6 divides 60 and 6 divides 72. You can see that there is a path from 6 to 60 and 6 to 72, right? Also, 4 is the lower bound of 60 and 72 because 4 divides 60 and 4 divides 72. 4 divides 60 and 4 also divides 72. Similarly, we can say that 2 is the lower bound of 60 and 72 because 2 divides 60 and 2 divides 72. 2 divides 60 and 2 divides 72. These are all the lower bounds of 60 and 72, and these are all the upper bounds of 2 and 9, right? So upper bounds of 2, 9 are 18, 36 and 72, while the lower bounds of 60 and 72 are 2, 4, 6 and 12. Okay friends, this is it for now. Thank you for watching this presentation.